नमस्कार दोस्तों, गुड़गांव के हाल में आप सभी का स्वागत है। आप सुन रहे हैं गुड़गांव की आवाज़, आपकी आवाज़, आपका रेडियो।
It's sometime in the afternoon and radio jockeys Amrit Barwal and Bandana Bachate anchor their daily show at the Gurgaon Ki Awaaz radio station. It's a dose of traffic updates, weather and good-natured banter.
शंकर चौक, इफ्को चौक, राजीव चौक लगा है जाम का सरताज। आप हमें बताइए।
Outside the recording room, others work on their consoles, mixing the audio, recording the program and sending it out on the airwaves. But this community radio station in the suburbs of Delhi is different. Instead of the usual specialized and expensive machines, these operators use simple PCs. That's been made possible by an automation system called Grins, which uses free software to replace costly hardware. For small broadcasters with tight budgets, that means a transformation.
ग्रीन्स हम करीबन 8-9 महीने से जो है यूज़ कर रहे हैं, और उससे पहले हम iTunes यूज़ करते थे। iTunes में हम क्या करते थे, एक प्लेलिस्ट बना देते थे और वो रिपीट कर देते थे, हम ऑल रिपीट, फिर वही चलती रहती थी। ना ही बीच में हम उसको छेड़खानी कर सकते थे, ना कुछ और डाल सकते थे। लेकिन ग्रीन्स आने के बाद में हमारा जो है लाइव भी जाने लग गया। जो गुड़गांव में जाम लगा रहता है उसके हमें कॉल आ जाते हैं कि जाम भाई यहाँ पे शंकर चौक पे जाम लगा हुआ है, आप बता दीजिए गुड़गांव वालों को कि यहाँ पे जाम है। तो हम वो तुरंत बता देते प्रोग्राम के बीच में कि जो दिल्ली से जो गाड़ियाँ आती हैं।
The technology that makes Amrit Barwal's live show possible started here on the IIT Delhi campus. A small group of engineers and businessmen started a company called Gramvani. And Grins, which is short for Grameen Radio Inter-Networking System, is their flagship product.
One of the opportunities that came up around 2008 was when the government of India came up with a new policy for community radio stations. So around about the same time, we basically put in a proposal where we had some ideas of how to make what are known as radio automation systems for community radio stations. And so that's where we put in a proposal for a competition that's sponsored by the Knight Foundation in the US. And so we won a grant through that, and that was when we came back to India and we set up Gramvani.
The team that made Grins say they not only wanted to cut cost, but also make a system that was rugged and simple to use.
The entire idea while designing Grins was that it's so user-friendly that even someone who is, say, 7th, 8th passed in a village, who has no technical experience even of working on computers, can be very quickly trained to start working on Grins.
Grins does all the things a community radio station needs, but on the cheap. It records incoming phone calls and lets operators use a single standard headset to listen to callers rather than forcing them to use the specialized ones that come with more conventional radio gear. What's more, Grins can archive long playlists of songs and programs and even provide statistics of what's been used. Of course, none of these features were developed easily or quickly. For the team at Grins, the first step was to understand radio stations and their needs.
We started in January 2009, so it's been about 2 years now. And the method really was that we actually spent a lot of time in these radio stations trying to figure out what the workflows are, how the station actually works, what kind of process people are used to. So the first 6-7 months were really spent in the very beta version of our system, where we spent a lot of time with the station, and then about, I think around August, we did our first pilot with the Radio Bundelkhand.
Grins is not all software. Gramvani makes money by selling optional hardware. It also charges radio stations for installing and maintaining Grins systems.
Main source of funding right now is training and installation fees. The training involves, one is just explaining them the different features of Grins. So this involves how do you create a playlist, how do you organize playlists to play. Then there are specific training on telephony usage. So as we said, we integrate telephony with it. So giving them the entire explanation of when a telephone call comes, how do you respond, what are the different buttons you have to press. Then how do you engage with someone who's calling. Third, we also have in Grins a feature we built as internet radio. So the same radio station which is transmitting on their local area can run an internet radio using grins.
At present, 3 radio stations beside Gurgaon Ki Awaaz run on grins. And though grins has impressive features, the team at Gramvani is already looking ahead.
What we are also getting into now is more enhanced services. For example, one of the things we are looking to do is to network different community radio stations in India under a single umbrella. First is it will help them share content among each other, because content production is very expensive. While the idea is still to keep the content local. So not all of the content can be shared, but some of the scripts, some of the ideas can be shared. The second main service is campaign management. What we are looking to do is to use again this network of community radio stations to carry coordinated campaigns about government schemes. So you do a campaign on Narega, you do a campaign on right to education, right to food.
But while Gramvani has big plans for the future, the radio jockeys at Gurgaon Ki Awaaz can continue to entertaining and informing their loyal audience courtesy some clever software.